Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Welcome to Massenomics, the world's strongest podcast. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Massenomics. Make sure you go visit Massenomics.com. There you'll find the rest of our powerful content. While you're there, check out our store and buy yourself some of that sweet Massenomics gear.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 130 of the Massenomics podcast. Your hosts are here, Tanner sitting here, and then Tomahawk_D to my left.
What's up?
Not too much. What's happening? These people don't know it, and they would never know it without me saying it right here, but we've said that 3 times now.
We may have had a little technical difficulties leading into this, so
I got a lot of practice on that beginning, and I still managed.
That was probably your worst one.
Yeah. I was kind of laughing just thinking about how many times I had said it here now already.
Yep.
I think so. We're off to a good start here though this time. I think
we are cruising.
We got it figured out. We do have a pretty full schedule today. The number one topic we're going to cover is social media, how we see it fitting in with strength sports, powerlifting, strongman, how we utilize it personally, how we utilize it as Massenomics, what we see other people doing, how it could be better, and some things that we don't like about it maybe. But we have some better stuff, maybe even better stuff before to get into.
Maybe
before
some
that.
juicier things.
Yeah. Number one is, if any of you guys remember Tyler Effenston from the Massenomics podcast.
Famous Massenomics podcast.
Yeah, he has moved. Well, actually, he is moving.
He's probably on a plane somewhere right now while we're talking.
I bet he's like wedged in the middle seat between like a screaming baby and
a morbidly obese man.
Let's hope.
No, I'm just picturing Tyler somehow got on a middle seat, and there's a lady with a dog next to him, and a very large man on the other side of him. And it's a 12-hour flight or something ridiculous.
Yes,
I don't know.
Yeah. We'll probably catch up on that, but yeah. So he's out of the country. I don't know if we'll ever see him again.
Next time he'll be he'll probably have a thick European accent. He won't even be the same Tyler.
We won't recognize him, and he's probably gonna stop shaving his armpits and
all those weird European things.
No, so he's out of here. But yeah, the DM thing. That's what I was gonna mention. Make sure to hit him up with D pics in his DMs. He cherishes those. We put out an Instagram post earlier this week, a call to arms for people to bother him in his DMs. So don't give up on that. There's still time.
And nothing says we miss you like a good D pic.
So that was the first thing to touch on. But other interesting news in powerlifting, kind of juicy news, was the Gracie V / current U.S. Open scandal. Was it
scandalous?
It wasn't a Me Too scandal quite, but
not quite. No,
but there should be a word for this kind of scandal.
Yeah, I mean there probably is.
Yeah. So what do you know about it? Like the beginning of or why there is a scandal?
So the very high level overview of this whole thing. Gracie V is the meet director for the Kern U.S. Open. They've done the meet 2 years now, right? This would be the third year.
I think this is the third one.
So they're in the early process of sending out invites and getting people signed up for the third annual Kern U.S. Open. The meet is known for being the biggest one in powerlifting as far as money goes. Mm-hmm. There's $200,000 on the line collectively across everything, something like that.
Number one of the heavies and number one Wilkes of the lights, don't they win $40,000 each this last year?
Yeah, and for men and women too. So there's some definite prize money on the line. But it's always been a USPA meet, and this year, getting ready for it, they were basing their applications or kind of their invites off of. They were using the Open Powerlifting database. And I think this is where this whole thing starts. There was a little confusion with what the actual qualifier was, whether it was top 25 all time or top 25 of like 2018.
Because there could be a big difference in those two.
Absolutely, yeah.
A huge difference.
And I think there was a little confusion. I don't know if that was made the most clear all the time. And so where the whole thing starts is I think some lady, wherever she was at, tried to apply or was trying to apply for the meet. And basically Gracie kind of replied with, don't waste your time or quit wasting my time with your 392 Wilkes or whatever it was.
Right.
And I mean, it wasn't put so eloquently. I mean, there was a few more words in there to kind of drive home the point that you're worthless and wasting my time.
It was very much the opposite of eloquent.
Yeah. And the person was, I think, probably a little offended by it, and rightfully so. I mean, they were really just asking a question about signing up.
Yeah.
And the USPA saw that, and they were also a little put off by it, to the point that they decided to cut all ties with Gracie V and the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big deal when it really is, at this point, kind of,
It's
without a
one
doubt,
of
one of the
the-
top 5 meets in
yes,
powerlifting.
right.
And you can
and
make an argument for even being the top one.
Right. It's definitely up there with the competition that they pull in and the way it's treated, I think. So what do you think about her comments or the way she handled it?
So
What do you think?
This is my thing, and like, I know you can look around online, and this whole thing, like, we won't go into a lot of the details because you can look online and read more about it, and maybe you should pull up. The USPA did have a statement that they issued about it, and it's probably better just to hear from them directly than to us try and summarize the whole thing. But yeah, if you do want to know the details, look on hear the full statement. Look on their Instagram account; it's on there. But what are kind of some of the highlights from it, Tanner?
Yeah, and do check out the full statement if you want to. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's several paragraphs here, but the USPA president, this is a message from the president, and his main 3 bullet points of his decision were: number 1, the USPA is no longer sanctioning or participating in the 2019 Kern U.S. Open, and number 2, Gracie Davis will no longer be a meet director for any USPA events, and number 3, Gracie Davis's referee status in the USPA is indefinitely suspended. And then he goes on to talk about the principles of the USPA, the fundamental principles, and how her actions, her comments are not in line with theirs as USPA.
Yeah. Which I think is good. Like, if you are a company and you do have like principles and things you stand behind, I mean, now is kind of the time where you got to show up and like, is that really what you're about? Or are those just words you put down on a piece of paper to make it seem like you're a feel good, company, or you have your stuff together?
Right. And I think there was probably pressure on them to do something. I don't know if severe is the right word, but to do something, because there was a lot of people that were upset about those comments and how it was belittling her, and maybe fans of the USPA didn't feel like it was what they should have been about, and I think there was a lot of people calling for her head, quote unquote.
Yeah. And to kind of just, I feel like to step back and just to kind of maybe make the whole thing, or just to look at it through a different perspective, this really wouldn't be any different than going to any business, just walking into your local business and asking the person a question about something that you're about a product or service they're offering. And that person like jumping down your throat, saying you're a waste of their time, to get better and come back again, just kind of like being insulting about it. And if that happened to you anywhere, you'd be like, damn, that business owner's an asshole. I'm not going there again. And this really is no different. It just took place online, not face to face.
Right.
And I think when you look at it through that lens, it's like, well, yeah, that kind of isn't just how you treat people. Like, Massenomics has a business component. If Tanner, you get emails about people wanting to exchange items or just questions about items. And can you, like, if every person that came in with a question and you kind of acted like an asshole too, like,
we probably wouldn't have a business for very long, I don't think.
I don't think so, no.
And even if some of those things, the way most human beings handle that is maybe they complain about it to their friends or their family or something, and then they think about it and try to take a better approach than that. You even inside, if you are thinking, oh, this person's such an idiot or something like that, that's not what you say.
Yeah, and like people do have dumb questions. Like, no matter where, I mean, everyone listening to this works at a job that has had someone ask a dumb question.
Right.
And you probably want to go off on them, but that's just kind of not how the world works. Like if everyone was like that all the time, life would suck, you know? So you can't just be doing that to everyone.
Yeah. The one argument I've heard against maybe that people think that she shouldn't have had those repercussions against her, that people think that things in general are too soft now. People are too soft, and that
people love to throw that one
right,
out there.
and that people with social media and the way that things are, even in the last few years, that people will take something, whatever it is, and just blow it out of proportion and get it and run with it and just won't stop until someone's fired or something like this happens. But I think a lot of people would get fired from a lot of jobs if they did that.
I don't think it's unreasonable at all.
No,
if you were documented, like just not being a pleasant person at a lot of jobs, you would get either strongly reprimanded or fired.
And I don't know, I don't know that she's getting fired from a job, but that's how that's what we would compare it to.
I mean, she got dropped from the USPA.
Right,
exactly. Essentially got banned from them.
Right.
So that's
it's
about as close
equal.
as you can get to firing. And it's just like, you probably just don't need to I don't know. It just seems overkill to me.
Yeah.
Except at the end of the day, it's people lifting up weights and putting them down. So
right. And maybe, who knows, maybe that the person that submitted that is a terrible person too or something, but my general guess is that maybe she is just innocent,
genuinely asking a question.
Right. Yeah. And to get that in exchange, I'm not surprised that they put that out there and wanted people to see what her response was to that.
Yeah. So the aftermath now is that the WRPF jumped in immediately, I don't know, was it a full hour, and they were already in and ready to go?
Yeah, so that's the news, is that the WRPF will be the sanctioning federation of the Kern U.S. Open in 2019. And
which it is. I did see one meme. It was kind of the U.S. Open, and now it's a Russian federation, so the USSR Open. Which it is a little funny, and
I think that came from Frustrated Strength Coach or something.
It was somewhere. It is kind of funny when you think about it, and I think the big thing now is WRPF meets, they're known for having some extra wide plates and the whippiest of deadlift bars of all time, and also fourth attempts and things like that. So I think just the hope is to because from a spectator standpoint, the U.S. Open was always judged pretty strictly.
Right.
That was kind of the biggest critique a lot of people had, is damn, these guys are really strict on the judging.
And walked out squats of a squat combo rack.
And so hopefully they can kind of keep that whole thing going, and it won't turn into one of those crazy Russian meets where it's almost like a circus show.
What I saw is that it's WRPF or WRP, whatever you want to say, I guess. They normally lift out of a monolift.
Yep.
But they're not going to do that.
Apparently
they're kind of making a new division for
division
WRP that they're going to utilize.
Also kind of weird too, because it doesn't even go in line with what they currently kind of support and do.
Right. I feel like they're just going to cater it to make it look like it looked in the past, but it'll just be a different. They're just going to change their standard. The WRP is going to change their standards enough for this meet that it'll look like what the USPA meet has looked like the last 2 years.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't think that really changes anything as far as the meet goes.
And as far as spectators go, assuming they don't start adding in fourth attempts and things like that, it shouldn't really change anything either.
And I feel like they're not going to do that. I feel like they're going to be smart enough to not let it go that direction, because I think the strictness or the consistency of the rules is probably what's helping to make it a really big meet. And if they start going that other direction, there'll be people that won't give it as much credibility, I think, at the end of the day. But that's the latest on powerlifting drama news.
So that'll probably be all there is to report for powerlifting drama news for a couple months now.
Yeah.
I don't know. USAPL Nationals and Big Dogs are both coming up. There could be something that happens there.
That's true. That's true.
Guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll see if anyone else gets fired from whatever it is that they do in powerlifting.
From whatever that position consists of.
And then should we get into our main topic of the day then? We've got several subtopics on this to go on, but
Maybe we should just jump into it.
we'll just dive
Hop
deep.
on in.
But it is going to be the role of social media in strength sports, and we've got kind of a list of topics to go over, and we'll go down the list and go off any tangents as we get them. But so first one is, how do we utilize it personally? And maybe you want to start off that.
So
just social media in general, I guess. How do you utilize it personally?
that is a really, really broad question.
Yeah, it is.
Social media. Personally, I would say my preferred social media network is Instagram.
Yeah.
I like Instagram. Way back, I was a big fan of Twitter. Kind of over time, I just started to use it less and less. And then once I really started using Instagram, you only have so many hours you can divide up, with all these things. So something had to go. And Instagram was kind of the first one to go. Twitter was the first one to go. And so Instagram is the primary one. Facebook, I still hop on. As far as actually doing stuff with it, it's almost non-existent for me. So really, when I think of social media and especially strength sports with me, it's Instagram is what's coming to mind. And for me, I think I use it in a way pretty similar to most people or most fans of the sport, in that it kind of seems like Instagram is sort of the unofficial media channel for all things strength sports. Mm-hmm. Outside of maybe catching a few things, like Rogue will put good stuff on YouTube, and there's a lot of different personalities or even athletes that kind of have their own vlogs, and they have stuff on there too. But those can get really drawn out. As far as just getting your highlight reel, I mean, Instagram is kind of where it's at with your, you can just see the big lifts, kind of catch up with what's going on.
Yeah.
And so that is primarily how I use Instagram as a fan of the sport. And even my own personal training, I maybe
How often do you post something about your training?
My training, I don't have any problem with people posting.
No,
I just never think to do it.
Yeah.
If right now, if I get 5 to 10 posts a year of me training, that's probably about it. Because I'm not the one. I'm never gonna do just putting in work.
Yeah.
Here's just a 5x5.
Yeah.
I'll save it for some PRs or some highlights, something more interesting to show.
Right.
I've been working for this for 6 months. Here's finally one PR.
Yeah.
Of some
Even
kind.
if it's a PR set of 5.
Oh yeah, a
or
rep PR or
yeah.
whatever. But yeah, I'm never one for you all know the people on Instagram that every workout that they've ever done is on there with multiple videos, and it's I don't know. Some people might like it. I would think the majority of people don't really care.
Right, and unless you're, that's kind of a weird thing. It's like a catch-22 because if people weren't posting about their lifting, I wouldn't have anything to look at on Instagram.
Oh no, and that is the thing is it's tough to. I mean, there kind of is a line. And it might even be a fine line or a kind of murky area of what actually is enough and not enough. But there's a lot of people that, especially at that, the peak of their game, I wish they would post training videos. I want to know, what does it look like when you're really getting after it, deep into your training. What do some of your top sets look like? How is that day going?
There's a lot of people that don't post enough.
No, you don't know anything. Are they alone? Do they have a crew with them? Are they getting hyped up? Is there music playing? What does that look like for them? So it'd be cool to get that, kind of be the fly in the wall in the training room, which is the awesome part of what Instagram does. It gives you that. And that is where I wish there was a few more guys out there and girls that did that. But then there's also the people that you don't even have any question. You know exactly what they're doing every day.
Even more than you want to know.
I mean, the warm-up, the actual sets, what went good, what went bad. And that's man.
Well, and that's the beauty of it, though, too. You get to look at whoever you want to look, and not pay attention to whoever you don't want to pay attention to, too.
How do you use it personally, Tanner?
Well, I don't use it personally very much. What I do, I guess, I don't use Twitter. I never did. I mean, I had it, I guess.
It was just a spot to repost.
That's the only reason that Twitter I ever had, and I even tried it. At times I was like, I should really people seem to really be liking this. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I wonder if there's not something for me in it too. And I tried a few times and maybe posted a couple things, and at the end of the day, I was like, I just do not. I don't know. It's not catching my attention. It's not keeping me interested.
Yeah, it's a different medium.
Yeah.
It's
Facebook. I have that, and if not for Massenomics, I could almost not have it, and I would be cool with that. What I do use it for is once every couple of months, I post a picture of something about my family. And that
it keeps everyone happy.
Yeah, and that's really what I use Facebook for. I check my notifications at least once a day to get those off of there. I don't scan. I don't scroll I don't like go through it like I use Instagram. I don't like go through and see
and like have to catch up with
and be
everything.
like, oh, I wonder what everyone's doing, because it got to the point where it's like, oh, I do not want to see what any of these people's political views are and all that.
That's what just murders, and that's probably the biggest, most annoying thing is everyone has a voice on Facebook, and it's people you don't even want to know. So you just like hit the silence, and like you've hit the silence button on so many people that it's just like ran out of people to show me stuff on. And I'm like, well, I don't even care about these people, but that I would say for me the biggest draw with Facebook is that it has served as a good source of business referrals for me.
Right. That's what you use it.
I mean, that is the primary use, and I would encourage anyone, like if you have a local business, you should get on Facebook can really help you out with some referrals or at least some cheap and easy marketing.
I feel like especially like as a local business, there could be a lot of value to Facebook. Where I don't know why I feel like that. But
it doesn't really take a whole lot for just a few people to see something, and then someone's like, "Oh, I know that person, and they can solve that problem for me," and that's
and the percentage of people. Everyone is on Facebook.
They are.
I mean, like your
even,
grandmother is
probably
has
even more
Facebook.
so people that are a little older, which typically means that they're people
they have
in like
money
positions
to
to make just buying decisions.
Yeah.
So that one, I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. But yeah, Facebook, if you need to do some business marketing, it's not a bad platform to use for that.
For Instagram, personally, I've never had a personal Instagram account.
Has it always been?
That's
I didn't know if there ever was like a Tanner Baird. For like a couple days.
I mean, the thing is, when Massenomics was first a thing in like 2014 or 2015, that's what it was.
Yeah, it was
because it wasn't anything besides that. So it's funny if you go to look at the very first posts of Massenomics. The first one is a picture of a sugar-free monster or something like that, and I've looked at that before and be like, oh, why would I post that?
How far we've come.
And
I shouldn't even say we, how far you've come.
So I've never had a personal one. I've thought about it before, and then I don't know. I always think like
2 Instagrams.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
Is there 2 of me to keep track of all this time?
Right. If I had a personal one, I'd use it. I guess how I would probably have a post once a month or once every. Yeah. I would use it. I'd post something to my family every so often.
Yeah.
I would post something of my lifting every so often, I guess, if there was something worth putting on there. But I don't have it. Maybe I will someday. I've thought about it many times, and every time when it comes to it, I always kind of just go, nah.
I could just see it being a whole nother. Now there's 2 feeds to check,
right,
2 feeds
right,
to tend to. It's a lot to do.
And who would I follow? I mean, I guess I would just follow all the same things.
It would be the same, wouldn't it?
So I don't know. I don't use it. I mean, it is me using it, but we'll get into more of that, I guess, when we talk about how we use it as Massenomics. And that is our next bullet point, how we use social media as a company. And there again, Instagram
is where it's at.
And at first, when we first started, we were having more luck gaining some traction through Facebook.
Yeah, and Facebook still does have its advantages. Initially, in the beginning when we had all this content that we had to push out to people, and like if you're going to be writing blog posts, you can make a post about it on Instagram, but Facebook does make it a little easier to see it and just click on it, go right to the link. Like Facebook does have its advantages that way, and initially we did have some better traction, kind of sharing articles, things that we had done through Facebook,
and they would get out there, and we'd gain a lot of followers in like the course of a week, and
get
we're
some good exposure through it. But it did also become very apparent there that Facebook was over time totally changing the way they did things.
They drilled us down so like our exposure or our reach got like almost I think you could say, I don't know what day and time it was, but you could pick a day and time from where we were gaining followers, gaining reach, gaining exposure on our posts, to almost a take a day in time, and then from that point on, nothing was working anymore.
There was a pretty hard line. Because Facebook really almost did, and it kind of is their stance today. It's almost pay to play.
Yeah.
Like as far as if you're a business trying to like push stuff out there, they really do want you to be coughing up money to be part of the system.
And we have done paid ads on Facebook for a while, and even for a while, I think we felt like we were having success with that, and that there was some return off of it. And I don't know. I think we
just
got
trying to spread the good word,
doing what we do. But I think we got to a point where we're even concerned of whether or not those paid ads were. I mean, was spending $30 on this ad worth it, or can we use that more somewhere else?
That also was the thing. Is like, oh man, like I mean, it's a business. $30 as a business isn't the biggest expense,
Right.
but also what Massenomics was at that time even was
It was significant.
$30 was a pretty good chunk of a monthly
Right.
of a monthly budget. So.
Right. Well, that's the thing is like, is spending $30 a month on Facebook ads worth it when we're not making any money?
Like we don't even really have products to sell at this point.
Like the numbers might go up, or at least if the followers were going up, that was one thing to watch and be happy about. But just looking at the reach of a post, and you get into the trap of being excited about that, about like just
people that literally saw it on their timeline for a split second.
and then you think about it and you're like, that didn't do us anything. You know, like that just someone seeing our thing is, I guess it's better than them not seeing it, but how do we turn that into something actually beneficial for us?
And that's where it became pretty obvious that Instagram is kind of where the community, I mean, it's where the community's at. It's where the community's living. It's where stuff's going down. It's where people are commenting, posting, liking things. Like that's where the interaction happens. And it would be really dumb to not be focusing at this point in time the majority of your efforts there.
So yeah, I'd say we also utilize YouTube if you want to lump that in there, but we're not a YouTube blogger, you know, we don't use it like that. It's a method for us to be able to have another avenue to publish our podcast and put it out in video form.
That's really about it. Just another medium to get the podcast out there.
Right. But yeah, Instagram is where, I don't know, like 90% of our time of everything social media wise that we do is based on Instagram and what we can put on Instagram. I think like 90% might be even lowballing.
I think so.
Yeah.
And really though, in this day and age though, it's hard to be a fan of the sport and not be involved in Instagram, because that's where there's not really much for magazines to follow.
No.
There's not a whole lot of like blogs out there really pushing like the new updates of what's happening every day around the world. You almost have to be on Instagram if you want to be in the loop on what's happening.
We want to record this podcast every week. So in order to do that, and if we want to know what's going on, that's where we find it from, is Instagram. Where else would you know what people are doing, what people are lifting? Like,
yeah, there's just not really other platforms for it right now.
As far as how we use it specifically, I mean, we post a couple times at basically every single day of the week. You know, we try to be consistent with that, and over the last year, I think we've found some success to where we've started to gain followers.
And I think we are probably, I would like to think that we're a little different than the average lifting, powerlifting, strength training, conditioning account out there, because, you know, we do have a company, so we are trying to like give you a heads up on, we have a few products you can buy, but that is the very small end of the low end of what we're posting. For the most part, we're trying to put out some funny, entertaining content,
and
that
original
content too. There's a lot of pages out there that strictly repost and will repost with the kind of the idea that they did it when actually they didn't, and it doesn't take much time or effort to look around and figure out what accounts those are.
Yeah,
but that's kind of something that we try to take a little pride in, is offering something new and original.
Yeah, and I think we do a pretty good job of that, and I think that's also where we found where we could gain some traction, is we found a couple original things. Being original is one thing. Then we found a couple original things that people tended to like, and we figured out ways to be able to repeat those, so we could have consistent content. And it's worked. I mean, we don't have 1 million followers, but we're trending in the right direction, and we've been able to pick out things that we know that work and been able to repeat them.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's where our strengths lie, is the original aspect of it, and then at least funny a little bit to us. I don't know. Some people must think it's funny.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you're listening to this, I would assume you probably have an idea of what we're about. But maybe we should quit talking about ourselves so much and maybe talk about what else is going on out there in the world of other people's Instagram accounts. And, I mean, I guess social media in general, even.
Yeah. That's what the topic about today is social media, but it almost gets drilled down to Instagram because that's, like we said, that's what we use so much.
Yeah, I don't follow any of these people on Facebook or Snapchat or anything like that. Like, I don't do it. There's probably people that do, but I don't think that's the majority by any means.
No, I don't think so. YouTube, maybe. There's a few people. There's a few people that are more popular on YouTube than they are on Instagram.
And in my head, the hierarchy of fitness social media, YouTube is right behind Instagram as far as.
If you would go 3 years ago, I think YouTube would have been, or I don't know the timeline, but go far enough back, YouTube would have been ahead of Instagram.
Well, because like you don't have to go back very far to Instagram not even having videos, and then when they had videos, it was limited at Did they start at 15? Is that what they started at?
That's what when I started. It was 15.
I couldn't remember if they started at 15 or 12 or what it was, because Vine was 7, I think, and they just upped them by a few seconds. But it's really hard to picture that world of Instagram without videos now. Like, oh, those are dark times.
Yeah, Instagram does like pictures, though. Just an FYI for yourself, if you don't know that. Instagram likes pictures, gives preferential treatment to pictures.
As far as where
over
they're
video.
going to like put you in the feed and like show you off to people. It's,
the timing of posting and stuff does matter too. I mean, there's sites out there that you can look at to reference what they think is important. Days and times that are better than others.
And it's going to be different based on who your audience is and where you're located. And,
But you will see with enough posting, you will see that's true. I think too. You can start to see those trends. But that was our topic, like you were talking about what we see other individuals or companies do that we like, and maybe some stuff that we don't. And we kind of started off talking about that. As far as the individual lifters go, there's some out there that I would like to see post more about what they're doing, and I think some strategically don't keep that private.
And I get it, part of people like, well, I'm training, like there's nothing to see here, but it is, as just a fan of the sport, it is really fun to see what's going down behind closed doors with people's training.
Right. And some of those people, their main focus isn't marketing themselves on social media. It really is their lifting. Mm-hmm. But
and that is also where you got to see the biggest difference. Like, a lot of people are doing this with the idea of like, I'm trying to broadcast myself to get more eyes on me so that I can start to get some free shit out of the deal.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that obviously don't care about that at all, and that's probably why they're not posting as much.
Right.
But a lot of people, they're not just, I mean, they want the attention, obviously, but they're trying to work something in the back end here to get something out of the deal.
Yep. Company wise that I follow that are related to the strength sports industry, I don't know what I see people doing that I like. Companies like Pioneer, of course, we always talk about them. It's like I like their company, so I like their social media.
Yep. And that just reminded me, I think good insider tip, something to watch out for is, we talked about this just briefly a while ago, I believe, Instagram having some issues with their account kind of getting hacked, taken. They lost it, had started another page, eventually got it back. It took, I think, about a week or two for the whole thing to kind of shake out, but all ended up being okay. They got their account back. They're all good to go. But what they did with their account that was kind of their backup, or they're using as their backup account
Pioneer
now.
GLM.
Is they're using that to kind of post their not even refurbished, just their belts that they didn't sell. There was a mistake or something for whatever reason.
Very slight minor, it's a cosmetic only. It's
or
not
like maybe they just made the wrong thing on accident, like they put the wrong color stitching in it. Like, these can be the most minor of things. They're using that account to kind of push those belts, which is pretty cool, and people are like eating it up. But there's some good discounts.
And do you know, there is no way to get one of those if you want one. Like, you have to be sitting, refreshing, and just catch it at the right time. And not only that, then you need to have an email ready.
It really does seem almost like a lottery system.
I'm blown away at how popular it's become, and I think they've discovered a little bit of a gold mine almost. Like, I think that's like...
See, I think this also plays into psychology. Like, there's a group of people that no matter what something costs, they won't buy it. But when they hear that they're getting something for 30 to 50% off, they can't not buy it.
Right.
And I think that's what that does. That plays to these people's like psychological like pricing strategy in their head that, well, God, I don't don't know. It's a 2-inch deadlifting belt. I probably don't
But
need
it's
it.
only $50.
But it's $50.
But
so
then it's still $50. Like that, that's what you have to remember. Like,
yeah. But some of the belts I have seen on there, they're like oddly specific belts.
Yeah. You can tell they must have done something slightly wrong from what was ordered or something like that. And I don't know. It part of myself, it gets me a little bit. I find myself looking at those and being like, man, that's a good deal. Like like that medium wouldn't even fit me, but it looks really cool, and I could have it at the gym and just let whoever wants to use it. Like, it's only $50 plus shipping. Like, and I'm like, it's probably $125 belt. Like,
well, and that's part. Some of it though, you look at it, it's like, well, you can just. Their belts are very reasonably priced. Like their most basic. Like if you're on just strictly looking for from a functional standpoint a belt. I think their belts start at like what, $70, depending on what you want to do.
Yeah.
So some of them you're not really saving that much money on. It's just the idea that I'm getting a deal and it's ready to go right now.
And it's fun. It's almost like a game too.
Yeah. I think if they had if they thought about it a little bit, I mean, they could almost just turn that into a.
I'd like to know if they overcharged on one of them, like be like, it's normally an $80 belt and they list it for $100. I bet it would sell instantly.
I still think it would, just if you sell it with the idea that you're getting a deal.
I know that they're not doing that.
No, and I don't think they would.
No.
I think they could get away with it though.
I think that they could too. It is interesting though how well that's working. Like that's taken off way faster and way more popular
than they would ever guess.
Yeah, I think so for sure.
So yeah, that's in the line of selling things.
Yeah.
Someone else that has a lot of links to selling things is Larry Wheels.
That's true.
Yes.
He's an interesting social media posting discussion all in himself.
He is.
Like he could be a.
I mean, you could
do
really
a case study on him.
You could, because you follow him and you get world record attempts. Depending on the time of the month, you might get 5 in a week, and then you might not see anything for a month, and then you might get 3 in a week. Like it just goes in waves with him. But then mixed in with those, there's just a few pics of him living his life, and then him selling a bunch of shit too.
And it's become a running joke, the 1999
I think,
thing.
and I think he kind of embraces that a little bit.
Yeah, but he's got gained himself a pretty massive following. Like I think he's got close to 500,000 followers, and I'm sure he makes a living off of that now at this point.
I'd be really surprised if he didn't.
So I do think what he does training wise sometimes comes at a cost of meet performance, because I think a lot of the top powerlifters you would find won't be doing the things that he's doing all the time.
They'll reel it back a little bit.
Not to say he doesn't do well at meets. He's obviously has multiple world records and all that, but I think and I don't think it's even a negative, especially for what he's after. I think it's probably what he wants. Like when he does a video of him doing a 500-pound seated overhead press, like he makes money off of that video, off of the existence of those videos like that. But just from a powerlifting purist, of someone that's trying to train to they've got this next meet in mind, they're probably not going to do that.
No.
Like you don't see Brandon Allen's training for big dogs here. He's not like maxing out every other week.
A lot, yeah. He might have some kind of stretch goals of some certain rep PRs in there, but you're not going to see
there's a program he's following. Yeah. And I think Larry's following a program too, but there's no way his program calls for like there's no logical reason for a lot of the stuff that he throws in there.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's his number. I think that's part of his goal, but I think with he's doing what he wants to be doing, and it's working. So
yeah. And so to kind of tie into this, one of the points we have is things we dislike about stuff.
Yeah.
And just kind of riding those rails, I think one of the biggest issues with Instagram is it has turned everyone into a coach or a salesperson of some kind. Like everyone is trying to sell you on something or coach you. Yeah. And it's a lot of people that shouldn't be doing either, really.
Right.
And that is
there
the
are
most
some
annoying
out there
part
there are some real coaches out there doing it.
Absolutely. And
But
I think it's pretty
they're in the
obvious who they are.
minority.
Yeah, and it's just like it's one of those things where like people get caught up in the idea that just because someone has hit a certain level of achievement, that all of a sudden they're good at teaching and instructing other people. And I think that's kind of, I don't even know what you like, this student/coaching fallacy where people don't realize that.
Right. I mean, do you think Larry Wheels is the best bang for your buck if you're going to hire someone to do your programming for you, or
I don't
wouldn't
think
you
so. I can't-
assume no?
I mean,
he's
I
not, like, one of the
personally wouldn't
strongest,
buy
but
one.
yeah.
I'm not saying you couldn't get stronger on one of his programs. Depending on
Right.
who you are, you definitely could. But
If you're spending the money,
yeah,
there's
I,
better
I
places
wouldn't
to
spend my $19.99 there. Like, I hope his Instagram page keeps going, but I wouldn't spend my $19.99 there. Like, I think there's a lot better spots you could do that.
but you're right. That is what everyone is, and everyone that lifts, and not everyone, but a lot of people that lift, they become an Instagram coach then.
Give it enough time, and yeah, most people will. Most people will. They just can't. That bug of somewhat passive income,
Yeah.
it just starts biting, and they got to get it.
Yeah.
And I think you need to watch out for though. I think that's one of the biggest ones is especially like if you're newer to the sport and you're a fan of some people, like think twice before like giving them your money just because you like their lifts.
Yeah.
Like, maybe look at their coaching credentials
Right.
or give that a little more thought because there are definitely places out there that do have like a kind of a coaching pedigree
Yeah.
and are happy and proud to show that off.
Right. And I think part of that comes to doing your homework a little bit or following someone long enough, and you start to know who are the people that
Yeah, just
like
go through their like last 30 posts. You'll get a
Right.
good idea of what's going on.
Right. Some people, if they say, "Oh, this is a really great product," it's been beneficial for me, I'll be like, "Oh, if JP Price says that he really
Yeah.
likes that bar in his gym, like I feel like that's worth something to me,
Yeah.
like I kind of have
Yeah,
respect
if
for
I
his
see
opinion."
Donnie Thompson like giving
Yeah,
high praise
yeah.
to something, like he kind of makes his thing on being like kind of a no bullshit guy.
Right, right. But some people are just doing it because that company is paying them.
Yeah,
to do
like
that.
they
And they don't care.
They had a marketing budget,
Yeah.
found this person, and threw it at it. Before we need to continue this conversation, but before we go too far, should we talk about our open powerlifting stat of the week?
I think we should bust out the old open powerlifting stat of the week. I'm going to bring that up here right now, and this is kind of a timely open powerlifting stat of the week. USAPL Raw Nationals is coming up here. We talked about what were the dates on that?
Does it start? It's like second week in October. It's like
Yeah.
October 12th
was like
ish, 12th through 15th.
5 days long.
Because it's a USAPL meet, it's 5 days. For the 10,000 people that are participating in all the divisions. But
that is coming up. So the open powerlifting stat of the week on the Massenomics podcast, we are looking at the Wilks scores historically at USAPL Raw Nationals. The first year was 2008. The number one Wilks that year was 467. In 2017, the number one Wilks was 581. In 2008, the average top 10 Wilks was 451. In 2017, it's 543. Average top 100 in 08 was 387. Average top 100 in 2017 is 493. And
Wow.
that's the top level view. I do have the statistics for every year, 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. And I have number one Wilks each year, the number 100 Wilks, and then the average top 10, average top 100, and then number of lifters over 500. So I'll tell you the number of lifters over 500 Wilks, because I think that's kind of an interesting one. 2008, we know it was 0, because the top was 466. 2009, 0. The top was 484. 2010, 1. The top was 500.5. 2011, 4. Top was 536. 2012 actually dipped down. There's only 2, and the top was down to 519. 2013, 5. 529 was the top. 2014, there was 6. 2015, there was 15. So 14 to 15, there was really a big jump. And the top that year was 547. And then going to 2016, the top was 582. So a huge jump in the top Wilks from 15 to 16.
And how many people?
22.
Okay, and a big jump in the number of people doing it too.
Yep. And then this last year, like I said, 2017, the top was 581, and the number of 500 plus Wilks was 29.
Wow. That's like, see, that just goes to the whole thing of it seems like powerlifting is not a very mature sport. And the
Yeah.
fact that, a decade, what once would have been peak performance is now kind of average almost
Well,
even.
listen to this. The open powerlifting guys made a couple notes, and the first one is just what you're saying there. The top Wilks in 2008 was 467. In 2017, the top 100 finishers all had higher Wilks than that.
Yeah.
So the top 100.
It's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah,
like,
it's not even comparable.
No.
The top 100 were all better than everyone in 2008. That's in 9 years.
Yeah, that's like hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah. Here's another one. Jen Thompson didn't compete in 2008 Raw Nats, but she did in 2009 through 2017, and in 9 consecutive years, she's never been beaten. Can she get number 10? That would be coming up here in a couple weeks. Here's the next note that they made. The first 3 Raw Nats only had about 150 lifters. Then
All together?
Yeah. Then in 2011, it doubled to 300 and started steadily increasing by there each year.
Do you have what the latest?
No, I don't have the number.
It has to be close to like 1,000, doesn't it?
I think so.
I don't know how it couldn't.
I do think it was. I'm not sure. I don't have that, but I bet it's high.
Yeah. Well, that is one of the complaints. Is some people say that
The qualifications aren't high enough.
Yeah, it's right around. I think like a 415-ish Wilks, 400 Wilks. I think it's right around 400.
Yeah, I bet. Is the
I mean, the Wilks isn't the qualifier,
right?
It is based on your total, but
do you think the Wilks is about the same for each weight class?
It would be really weird. I guess I haven't looked that hard into it. It'd be really weird if it didn't scale pretty similar.
But I think it's about 400 or a little higher. I think for qualifying.
Yeah,
I would guess.
Yeah, which isn't. It's definitely not anyone can compete. No, but it's not a
beginner
for a national level meet though. That's where it just seems like. Maybe that number, in 2008, that was probably a really great achievement to hit that 400-ish Wilks. But like now in these days, like when the top 100 are all like getting there, like maybe that should be a little higher. Like maybe it should be a pretty, like rare achievement to be a national level competitor.
Right, and do they, that's kind of the thing, because that would be a goal of mine. Is I would like to go there and compete, but I know. Already ahead of time, I know that I'm not going there to be competitive. It's just the goal is just to make it there.
Yeah,
and is that a good thing?
Well, and that's the thing. It's like should a national meet have 60 people in a class? Right. But also there's a huge money component to this too.
Well, that is why it's happening. I think.
I mean, think so. It's not. You don't have to look at it that hard to be like, well, it actually makes lifting way tougher for everyone when there's however many lifters they have to get through a flight.
Right. Yeah, I think that that is the way that it is with the numbers. That's why there is so many. It's because of the money. But, it doesn't make sense that that's the case. That I shouldn't be sitting here having a goal to make it there, but already knowing that, I could make it there, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to be competitive.
And
it's just
going to
be fun.
I'd place 40th.
Right. So that tells me it should be higher, but it is what it is, and it still is cool then to go. It's still a threshold of an accomplishment. Mm-hmm. If you're competing and you want to do that, I think it still is a threshold, but it's probably but they do have a separation that makes it that kind of remedies that a little bit. They have like the evening the primetime lifters. Mm-hmm. So they're really like that's almost like the nationals.
It is almost like a sideshow.
Yeah, right.
And like hopefully they have you on the radar if you really are an up and coming person, like that you can get in there, or you kind of are screwed again.
Right. I do think people occasionally end up podiuming, on the podium.
I think they slip through the cracks because it makes sense. Like it's, there's a lot to keep track of. But thank you, Open Powerlifting, for that stat. Check those guys out online at openpowerlifting.org. They have the biggest free database regarding powerlifting stats, and if you want to help out with the project, contribute in any way, you can shoot them a message, whether it's an email or a DM on Instagram, and they would be more than happy to put you to work. Or you can support them financially on Patreon or by buying a shirt, a nice Open Powerlifting shirt.
Honest thing about that last point you made there, I think on the last episode I mentioned
that I was
thinking about buying a shirt. I did. I have gone so far as to go to the site and look at the shirts, even though I already know that I like them and want them. But that's the process for me, is I have to go look at it a few times.
You don't want to do it all at once. So Tanner's getting warmer.
Close.
All right, we almost need a chart on the wall here with your head of where you're at in the buying funnel. On Open Powerlifting,
I'm to the point.
You're past awareness.
Yeah,
you're you're qualified to buy.
Yeah, yep.
You've kind of scheduled your meeting with picking them out, and
Yep.
now it's just signing that contract.
No,
and pulling through.
Now the honest thing is, it just takes me to get that one feeling that one day now where I'm like, all right, I'm buying it. Like I
Pull
just
the
have to get that
trigger.
good. Like I know that I'm gonna buy it, so it would make sense for me to just go buy it right now as soon as I leave because I know I'm going to buy it eventually. But I can't. I just have to wait
It's a
till
mind game.
Yep.
If they maybe had a Instagram page with discounted T-shirts, you'd be on that right away, wouldn't you?
for like, and they could say it's discounted from 25 down to 22. I'd be like, oh, a deal.
And then mark up shipping an additional $3. So thank you, Open Powerlifting.
Yeah.
All right, back to the subject, social media in strength sports. We were kind of talking about our likes and dislikes as to what these different companies go on. And the last one we were just talking about was kind of the selling thing. And it is a lot of people are trying to sell anything. And then, you kind of do have your groups of, there's the coaching category. There's the templated programs, which kind of does fall into coaching. There's the kind of the fitness chicks category that kind of have their whole own list of like waist trainers, like whatever weird supplement flavor thingies.
Yeah.
Actually, supplements is I'm gonna say for its own. There's just like the I don't know. The girls kind of have their own world of some of the things that they try to prey on your female instincts on.
Yeah.
And then there is the supplement industry, which, oh man,
It's easy for me to not be bogged down into
It's
that.
so
'cause I
easy
just
to-
I don't care about any like if I see that, I'm immediately like pass.
Well,
Like I'm
and
immediately
here's like
not
the
looking.
like Bigger, Faster, Stronger, the movie does
Yeah.
a great job of kind of putting the whole. If you haven't watched it yet, I mean that is like required viewing.
Yeah.
You should see it.
Yeah.
But it does a really good job of just saying like no one that gets a contract with a supplement company gets it because they started using their products and got to where they are. They got the contract because of the way they look now or the way they're doing whatever they
Right.
do now. It's purely marketing. So remember that, when you see your $100 proteins or whatever crazy creatine or BCA
Yeah.
someone's trying to sell you, is that product is like 98% marketing.
Yeah. In Bigger, Faster, Stronger, they were talking about ads in magazines generally because that was the media then.
Yeah.
Today the same is true. It's just it's on Instagram.
It is. And it is
Most-
sneakier because
Yeah.
it kind of almost doesn't even come off as an ad sometimes.
Because
Like,
it just feels like this guy or this lady that you followed and you feel like you kind of
like, oh,
have some
I
insight
relate to
in-
them.
yeah.
I like what they do.
right.
And, they're just chilling. They're done with their workout and they're drinking this thing. Oh, and by the way, this is what I'm drinking? Well, I mean, I kind of like them. And
Yeah,
they're like that. And that's
yeah.
like how that thing works. And
Yeah.
it is a tricky... The way that it's like it's this marketing technique where they kind of just sneak
Yep.
up on you.
Yep.
But that is the supplement industry is, and you can see like in waves, like things, it's so driven by marketing. Like, a while ago, Shreds, remember Shreds on
yeah,
Instagram?
yeah.
That one was huge for a while. And that thing kind of like blew up and there was a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff going on. And depending on what person you're probably getting someone to pitch you something about Herbalife or Advocare or something that, again,
Multi-level marketing
that you
stuff.
don't
yeah.
need
Right.
for any reason,
Right.
really. And then just, whatever company decided to like invest a lot into the marketing of their supplement that month, just hop on Instagram. You'll see it.
Yep.
It's very obvious.
Redcon 1.
Redcon 1 had a huge I went from never hearing about them to last year leading up into the Arnold. Like they kind of started to pop on my radar. At the Arnold, it could have just been Redcon 1 presents the Arnold.
There was literally people. I don't know how they do this to people. I saw multiple people walking around with like a temporary Redcon 1 tattoo on their forehead.
Yeah, lots of them on their head,
Like-
face. I would
How in
assume
the
someone's
shit
doing
are they
it.
doing
I would
that?
assume someone's probably doing it for a free small sample packet
Well,
of
we
some type of
need,
protein or
Like,
creatine.
however they're
or
getting people
pre-workout.
to put tattoos of their brand logo on their face and walk around a convention center. Like,
And I would not think it's a stretch to say most of those people had never heard of that brand before that day. That's just kind of ties into the marketing thing.
Yeah.
It's like, and they had stickers everywhere.
Yeah.
Like they were on everything. So they had a big marketing budget. From what I can tell, they're still around. So I would assume they're going to have a decent marketing budget again next year. And I guess we'll just play the longevity game. See who.
yeah, like you said, it's the 2019 Arnold as presented by Redcon 1. There's quite a few powerlifters that are in with Redcon 1. I've seen too. I know. I think Ernie Lillerbridge Jr., maybe Eric Lillerbridge too.
Ray Williams. I've seen.
Yeah. They don't discriminate of who they.
No.
Redcon 1 should give us a sponsorship. I think.
They probably could if we asked. So next week, Open Powerlifting Stat of the Week brought to you by Redcon 1 on the Massenomics podcast.
Just see how many companies we can roll into one, just one singular thing. How confusing it can get.
Another one too that you see a lot of that you get marketed is also energy drinks. And when I say that, one specifically comes to mind, and that's Bang.
Yeah.
You see a lot of Bang out there.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge energy drink guy. I
Me
think a lot of
either,
people do like Bang.
Yeah.
But they have had. It's not. They have a big marketing budget.
That's another thing. Like 2 years ago, maybe you don't have to go that far. They didn't even know what that was.
I don't think I heard of Bang until either late 2017, early 2018.
I don't think they. It's tough for us to say because, like you said, neither of us are big energy drink guys. But I don't think they came in and like turned the market on its head of like their product. You know, I think it's like, I mean, it's basically the same product, but they just.
Well, really, your options are caffeine levels and taste.
Yeah.
And I mean, apparently they have like
doing
300
those
milligrams
two,
of caffeine, so they have a lot of caffeine in them. So they're hitting that metric, and I think people say they taste pretty decent. So depending on the flavor, I'm sure there's some that taste awful.
So we just need to come out with one that's like 500 milligrams of caffeine. And be like, you feeling sleepy? Not anymore.
Like a dangerous level. Cannot be sold to people under 21 years old.
I could see there's probably a market for that though, even too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, I saw this pop up on Instagram a while ago, and actually this was Johnny Candido had this, and I think it's a really interesting point, and it speaks a lot to where we're at in this day and age with fitness and the online presence. And the question he put out there was, what would you rather have? Like a national, I think it was like along the lines of, would you rather have a total that puts you in be a national competitor with your total?
Yeah.
So really, really competitive powerlifter, or would you, and I think the line with that was like 2,000 followers, a low follower count, or would you rather just be a totally average powerlifter, but have 500,000 followers? And I think his response was, if I'm remembering correctly, and this was a long time ago, was that he would rather be an average powerlifter and have a big following, because with a big following, you have the option and the ability to kind of spread the message and get more people involved in the sport and have a bigger impact. Like his whole thing was, you can have a record, you might even be the national champion, but the next year, the way it's going, your total's going to be
right,
not competitive, and 5 years down the road, you're not even going to be in the top 10 no matter what. And so I think he was saying, for a longevity standpoint and all of that stuff, like he would personally rather have a large following than he would be an elite powerlifter.
Yeah.
And that is an interesting topic.
It is,
because there's a lot of people out there, and I'm not saying one's right or wrong. They both have their points, but there is without a doubt, kind of the old school hardcore people that all that matters is the platform. All that matters is what you're lifting. Anything else is just kind of blowing smoke up your ass, I guess.
Yeah, but I guess the flip side of it too, like maybe Instagram in a year from now, like becomes more and more meaningless, and then like maybe within a couple of years from now, maybe 500,000 followers on Instagram doesn't mean anything either.
Yeah, and that's where I actually had to laugh, because I watched Generation Iron 2. I'd never seen it. I watched it, just a couple weeks ago during the Olympia. I'm like, I'm not watching the Olympia right now, but I'll watch that. It kind of has some tie-in.
Yeah.
And Generation Iron 2 is probably 4 or 5 years old at this point. Probably 3 or 4, actually.
Something like
but
that.
One of the things the guys talk about is how Instagram has kind of changed the game. And they're like, if you have 20,000, 30,000, even 50,000 people watching you, you're really valuable. And now already those metrics, I'm not saying that's not valuable, but that's not even that unusual now.
No.
Like there's high school, wherever you're at, whatever city you live in, there's probably high school kids that have tens of thousands of followers.
Oh, definitely.
So that just shows like how the game is always getting bigger with this stuff.
That's an important point too. Like the numbers are always growing. I mean, I think the number of users within Instagram are always growing. And actually, I wonder if I have a point on that, a sub bullet there. I thought I had go a little lower there. I think was there, or no, in comments of that.
Oh,
That kind of talking about what does that say? Facebook lost 2.8 million U.S. users under 25 in 2017, and will lose another 2 million in that age group in 2018. The other point to that was overall their numbers are growing, but in the under 25 market, it's significantly decreasing.
And I would assume a lot of those are going to Instagram, which technically Facebook owns them both, so they still kind of have you.
Right.
But it's just where the eyes are looking. And yeah, right now the eyes are pointed more at Instagram regarding these topics.
Yeah. What would you have picked just if in Johnny Candido's, say you could have a 2,100 pound total, so you're, say, one of the best 220 pound lifters in the world, or have 500,000 Instagram followers at your disposal.
It brings up a really interesting account. Like, with the way I run my Instagram account, having 500,000 people wouldn't change anything because I don't post on it.
Yeah.
So,
right.
like, if I were to say, like, who I am right now, I'll take the 2,100 pound total. Like,
Yeah.
that has way more impact on my life. But if I either change my posting habits, or knowing that I had 500,000 or even 1 million or whatever it is, then that could be, that would be more valuable. I would just have to change how I do it right now. And if you do have that many followers, you probably are changing it.
Right.
And you could have way more of an impact on people's lives, being, if you're putting out positive content and spreading the word about powerlifting and like helping people get into it, you would do way more for the sport than you ever would with a 2,000 pound total.
Mm-hmm.
There's almost no debate about that.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Because, like we said, your 2,000 pound total, statistically, following the trends, isn't going to mean anything in 10 years.
Right. Exactly.
When superhumans walk the earth.
So that did. Where do we see the future of these social media platforms? What do we see growing or dying? I don't see Facebook I don't see it gaining more traction in the future.
I think it just kind of is what it is at this point.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like a thing that exists in the world, and I think a lot of people are annoyed by it, and a lot of people just know that it's kind of sort of part of, almost kind of makes their life easier in some ways, but also find it very annoying. I think people don't quite have that opinion about Instagram, but that would be interesting. Is like, in 5 years, is Instagram still going to be like the fitness social media channel, or is something else going to come up and replace that? And you don't know.
No, I don't know what it. Nobody knows, obviously, what it would be that would tip that on its head. But if I had to guess, I would say in 5 years it probably won't be. Like
if a different channel, like thinking about things that would actually make it more valuable for people, is if a different channel came along and made it easier for people to monetize their presence. Like through either people like paying you directly through the platform or something like that. Like that could possibly be something to throw it off. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. It'd take a lot at this point.
My thing would be as if Instagram just got lame. Like if I were to put Facebook as one word, like I think it got lame. So young people aren't using it because I don't know what changed or why that.
Yeah, I think it's just everyone was on it, and then the fact that you had to follow people back for them to follow your stuff.
Yeah.
So it waters down your feed heavily.
Right. What about Instagram? What they're doing now is, do you see anything that, I guess you kind of talked about it with maybe the monetizing part of it, if there could be a component they could add in.
Yeah,
but
and
I've seen
them try to talk about like being more transparent with ads, because and if you look, a few people do this under where the location normally is. It'll say paid partnership or sponsored by whatever company it is, to be a little more transparent, because you can totally, if you are an influencer or whatever you want to call yourself, you kind of can trick people pretty easily. And there kind of is a certain level of responsibility that goes with that. So I think like things like that probably are better in the long run for everyone, to let them know that, yeah, I am getting compensated in some way to say this. Like, I don't actually just love this product that much. I am getting paid.
Right.
And that pulls that curtain away a little bit.
Yep.
So I think that's something that they could do better, and they kind of are on the right step with. I don't know. Like what else really?
It's hard. Something will probably happen, and I'll be like, oh, how did that?
Yeah.
How was that
like for a
thing?
while they only had square formats, and now
Yeah.
they have horizontal and vertical, and so they've changed that up. And I think the biggest thing with Instagram is I just don't want to see it go the way of Facebook, where everything is Like Facebook, you can literally post anything, everything,
Yeah.
in any way possible. And I kind of do like the fact that Instagram limits it. Like you can put links in stuff, but they're not going to click.
Right.
So that makes it a little less salesy already.
Yep.
Reposting isn't quite the same. Like it is reposting on Facebook, like where someone reposts something, you see, oh, this thing's been shared 11,000 times.
Right.
Where Instagram doesn't really tell you that. It kind of just treats it as its own thing.
Yep.
But this is, I think, what the biggest thing that Instagram could probably do better is, and Facebook for sure too, is attributing things back to the original creators. Like they make it really easy for people to steal stuff and just
Yep.
kind of like turn a blind eye towards it.
Yep.
And that makes it hard for people to want to like put stuff out there when they can just rip it right off, and you're like, nah, we don't care about you, because that is who makes the platform, is the people putting out original stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Especially someone like a photographer, for example. I could see that being a real issue in that case.
Yeah, because people can just take stuff and just frame it as their own, basically.
Right.
And it's not hard to do that.
Right. Oh, we might have lost video, but that's all right. If you're watching right now, because we had to start fresh a couple times, my battery might have died on
We
us.
blew it.
That's all right. You'll just watch the rest of this in darkness.
Well, does that mean we're supposed to wrap this up?
I suppose we could wrap it up. We could.
Or do we just decide this is the one we go 2 hours?
Are we at about an hour already?
We're at an hour and 5 minutes.
Oh, geez. I guess we better wrap it up. I didn't realize that. Time flies when you're having fun.
Getting laid up in here.
Well, maybe we should just wrap it up, and we could, as long as we're talking about social media, we could tell you guys where to check us out on social media. Our YouTube channel, we talked about it in this episode.
Are you sure, though? Do we have anything else to discuss? Do we cover the role of social media in strength sports completely?
I think,
because after this, you're not allowed to talk about it ever again, Tanner.
No, yeah, I think the topic is completely exhausted, and it would be a complete waste of anyone else's time to have any discussion or anything further on this topic.
There you have it. Yeah. It's done.
It's good. It's good forever. Nothing's going to change here.
All right, then continue.
YouTube channel. Watch the podcast episodes. Our Arnold interviews are all on there. That's the best place to check those out on our YouTube channel. So subscribe there. Facebook. We kind of told you we don't use Facebook for a lot.
We don't really even need to tell you this stuff. You guys know now.
Yeah, but check us out on Facebook. Subscribe. We do share our articles through Facebook still. That's our biggest thing that we put out there. Sometimes some product information. Our website. Go to our website, because there is
Massenomics 2.0.
Yeah, there was an update to our website, and maybe I won't even tell you a lot about that. Just go check it out. You'll have to see it for yourself. Massenomics.com. You can still subscribe to our newsletter there on our new and improved website. And that's where you can find all of our products that we have for sale. All of your favorite lift shirt, lift hats, flex flask, koozies, stickers. Most importantly, a new shirt that will be dropping. It may have dropped by the time you're listening to. So I'm going to tell you, it's our bench shirt.
The bench shirt.
Yeah, the bench shirt. It's not just a bench shirt. It's the bench shirt.
Definitely not IPF approved.
No. Does still classify as raw, though, in my book.
Still raw.
So check that out. You're going to want to see what the bench shirt looks like, so check it out on the new website. Besides that, our Instagram handles, which is our most important thing, so what do you got?
You can find me not posting ever at Tomahawk_D.
And the official Massenomics Instagram account, posting 2 times daily at Massenomics. All right, we'll see you next time.
Later.
You just heard the Massenomics podcast. With your ears, you're welcome. Check us out on Facebook, find us on Instagram at Massenomics, and make sure you visit Massenomics.com and buy some of that sweet Massenomics gear. From your friends at Massenomics Studio, home of the world's strongest podcast, stay strong.